This is Jerod Lakefield, a novel by Don Fensler, Part 36, Phase 2, Part 7. Something was happening. But something strange was happening. Something new, someone new was playing defense against Zeke Rudolph. Zeke had this what the fuck look in his eyes, but at the same time was making a stupid attempt to keep up his bravado. It was not a cool thing to see. Zeke wasn't sure who, but every time he got the ball, it was like he couldn't move. If he had the ball, he couldn't move. Someone was slapping at the ball. Who the fuck was doing this? It seemed to be coming from behind and then from below. He couldn't see who it was. The Clapper center Darius Wallman covering was a nobody. He could score on him at will, but there was a phantom now on the court. Someone invisible and overpowering. It was Jerod Lakefield, and the spirit of Jerod Lakefield, the Holy Ghost of Jerod Lakefield in flesh and blood. Jerod Lakefield was now covering two men at once. His own man, Jonas Selby, and Zeke Rudolph. Jonas was easy. He was slow and had an outside shot, but he needed to be open to make the shot, and Jerod made sure he was never open. Zeke was 7 foot tall and weighed 300 pounds, but he was quick like a fucking rogue elephant. When he got the ball, he was fine as long as he held it aloft. But every time he brought it down to dribble, Jerod would slap at it. Not hard enough to get a foul called him, but enough to distract Zeke Rudolph to the point where Zeke took wild, arrogant shots from beyond his range, or spinning jump shots that were beyond his skills. After all, Zeke Rudolph was trying to be a Cole Bryant type player today when he was really a poor man's Jock O'Neilly type. Zeke was in the fucking quicksand now. That's the way it felt. Zeke started to miss shot after shot. Sometimes he lost the ball. Jerod Lakefield slapped at the ball every time Zeke tried to move, and Zeke would bounce it off his foot or have it stolen or would pass it out of bounds. He went from the best player on the court to the worst fucking player in the universe. Zeke Rudolph, and this just happened in a few minutes span. Zeke Rudolph had forgotten how to play basketball. 5 minutes ago, he had 30 points, wondering if he would get 50, and now he had 30 points, wondering if he was going to get 32. Meanwhile, at the other end of the court, Jerod Lakefield was hitting shot after shot from all over the court. Jerod would get the ball on the left side, dribble to his right. A Clapper player would set the screen. You could see in Jerod Lakefield's eye what a joy it was to have NBA-level players playing with him finally, even if they were Clappers. And Jerod Lakefield would glide a bit more to his right, cock the ball over his right ear, and shoot it through. His misses, though rare, were almost as fucking much fun to watch as the one he's made, as they were misses with drama and dazzle. They just barely missed, the ball clanging loudly, screaming out like fucking thunder in protest that it did not go in. There seemed to be no way to stop Jerod Lakefield. The Memphis coaches called timeout after timeout, but nothing made any difference, as Jerod only needed an inch of space, and there was no way to prevent him from getting this inch of space. The crowd went from rapturous, deafening joy to stunned silence. Jerod Lakefield had done this to them. They were watching a Jerod Lakefield miracle in the making for the first time. Jerod and I were crying with joy like a couple with a baby son, and Jerod Lakefield was our boy and our father. Then from 2 feet out inside the fucking half-court line with no one covering him and plenty of time on the shot clock, Jerod Lakefield launched a shot. It was madness. The ball shot through the rim like an Apollo's arrow. A look at the scoreboard caused me and everyone to drop our jaws, pee our pants, and give our life to the Lord. The score, with 5 minutes left in the game, was 75-72. The Clappers were ahead. From a 41-point deficit to a 3-point lead in seemingly the time it took to go to the store to buy some beef jerky at the Circle K. Then a rather shocking thing happened. The Memphis Bearcats were clearly frustrated and baffled, none more than Zeke Rudolph, of course. He seemed to be on the verge of a physical and nervous breakdown, having this wild, crazed animal look in his eyes. In the span of a few minutes, Zeke Rudolph had gone from being the king of the universe to an insect of the dung heap, limping around on 5 legs. After Jerod Lakefield hit the shot all the way from Vermont, they gave the Clappers the lead. The Bearcats brought the ball down fast on the left side. Zeke screamed for the ball. Bearcat players threw it to him, and Zeke started to drive to the basket, fire in his eyes, and the phantom Jerod Lakefield promptly knocked it out of his hands from behind. Zeke was now fucking officially done for, physically and most of all mentally. And suddenly, sending shockwaves all the way to the moons of Neptune, Zeke took a fucking swing at Jerod. Zeke tried to slap Jerod in the face with this monster's open right hand. Jerod moved his head back just in the nick of time, like Muhammad Ali avoiding a Sonny Liston punch. And then the bench is clear. No further punches or slaps were thrown, but Zeke Rudolph was kicked out of the game, eventually suspended for 5 games, and with the rest of the Bearcats players and the entire crowd dead silent in shock at what had happened, the Clappers won, going away 87-74. The crowd was so quiet you felt like you were watching a Masters golf tournament in May, with the Pope presiding over it all in deepest prayer. It was absolutely fucking reverent, a sacred moment, this first regular game of the season for Jerod Lakefield. Jerod Lakefield had 25 of the points that the Clappers scored, hitting 10 for 13 from the field and 5 for 5 from the free throw line. Even Jennifer and I were speechless, feeling guilty at our early irreverence towards Jerod Lakefield, but more in religious awe at him than ever before in our life. It was like Jerod Lakefield just kept topping himself. Jerod Lakefield was about to begin the next stage, I felt. He had just dominated the Bearcats just the way he had dominated the pipsqueak college teams we played at St. Cloud State. Whether he played against Slippery Rock Community College or the San Antonio Spurriers, it made no difference. He was going to be Jerod Lakefield, the man in charge, the being above all other beings, no matter what.